It's hands on keyboard. I want you to follow along. I want you to have fun. We're going to kind of work through this together. I went ahead and dropped just the GitHub repository within the chat. And then whenever you're out there, click on the link. We're going to look at Tabular Editor in an hour. Basically, the way I approach this, I just said after dashboard today, I feel like we just drop you all off of a cliff. You don't really know where to go. So what is that content that I really wish that I would have had, kind of leaving those sessions. So ALM Toolkit in an hour, DAX Studio in an hour, Tabular Editor in an hour. I'm going to just keep building them. So query folding in an hour, kind of next year, 2021. But for tonight, Tabular Editor in an hour. If you could click into this repository. And then I need you to do two things here. So at the very top, follow along. We're going to download and install Tabular Editor. So a nice little pro tip here in your browser, hold Control, press click, opens up a new tab here for you at the very top. And this will take us over just to just some of the release notes. So right now it's just a lot, minor updates going on. So we're going to keep scrolling till we get to this assets section. Now zoom in here now. Two different installers. I know kind of starting the night out tonight, do some organizations let you install this? It's kind of 50-50. So Tabular Editor installer.msi, that's the Microsoft installer. Clean, easy install. The portable.zip, if you're having any issues getting it installed, maybe on your work machine, especially with admin rights, you can go and download the portable.zip. I've had people have success with that method as well. So either the MSI or the .zip. I just go for the MSI right off the bat. And then back on the page, we're going to also download and open the sales demo PBIX file. So here at the very top, this will be the one that we're just working through together, just as we kind of work top to bottom here on the page. So let me go and click on this. There we go. So I'll open this now, just get it up and running, and then we'll talk about, happy to post the link here. So take care of you, Jeff. I'm not leaving anyone behind tonight. So we're just going at a nice leisurely pace. Here at the very top, Jeff, just to follow along, get that Tabular Editor. You probably just have to scroll down a little bit to the asset section, and then also download that PBIX file here at the very top. Cool. I'll give you some time there. I'll stall. Let me go and introduce myself here then. So give me one moment here, getting the PowerPoint. Cool. So one second. Awesome. So welcome everyone to Tabular Editor in an hour. I'm excited. I've been taking this around the world, just having fun with our community. For those who don't know me, my name is Alex Powers, Senior Intelligence Technical Specialist here at Microsoft. Just Microsoft. Just a Microsoft robot. But I don't want to talk about that tonight because COVID, our community.
Microsoft Links robot.
But tonight, Greg, I just want to say thank you for making Portland my home away from home. I've been able to hang out here a lot, just hang out in the chat. Especially during COVID, we're all looking for just a place to call home and be a part of something. So I'm not being the Microsoft robot tonight. I'm going to let you know about myself. So my name is Alex Powers. Officially over on LinkedIn, I call myself a hyperlink wrangler and MS Docs whisperer. Fun things about me: I did meet the wife on Craigslist. I'm a cat dad to two awesome cats, Elise Dior and Ivan the Terrible, both girls. Never had chicken pox, never broken a bone. I rode motocross as a kid. It wasn't like I was living in a bubble. I just never broke a bone. Of course, I love pineapple on my pizza. Everyone already knows that about me, though.
Woo! Love that.
I know. So my journey, at least with Microsoft products, I was first exposed to Excel version 4 on an Apple Macintosh. I remember it distinctly. My dad and my uncle just flipping through this tomb, what I like to call it, like this 800-page book, learning how to write things called Excel formulas. Just such an early memory, kind of ingrained in me. She hang out over on Reddit. I'm always hanging out over in R Power BI and R Excel. That's where I grew up. That's where I kind of came up through the threads, helping people out. I loved it. Co-host and self-proclaimed viral YouTube channel. To Alex's, I think if you have 400 subscribers, that means viral. I'm not really too sure of how YouTube works. Inherited a spreadsheet in a call center. That's how I started my journey. Someone took a week off of vacation, said, "Can you manage the spreadsheet?" I was like, "Okay, I'll figure it out." Then to quote Drake, I started in a dyad and now I'm here.
Love that, Alex.
Absolutely love the community. Talking about Tabular Editor an hour, this is my final stop. So to every host that has opened their doors for me, to every attendee that's hung out, like I said, just during COVID, we're all going through a lot, so this really means a lot, just that I can come and hang out with the folks. We all miss hanging out in person, but we'll get through it together. So from everyone from the Midwest, Iceland, Hamburg, Germany, Austin, Texas, Belgium, Netherlands, and then my final stop here tonight, Portland, Oregon. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Cool.
Can we get maybe just like an early hand clap? Can people go off mute? Just give them. Go.
Love it. Thank you. Thank you. All right, so I've stalled enough. Your internet has hopefully caught up. You've downloaded the PBIX. At this point, you're also gotten Tabular Editor installed. So I did my job. I stalled for us. But with that, let's go ahead and jump into just Power BI Desktop. Here at the very top, the Help tab. The question just, external tools, bringing these into your organization. How is that conversation going? If I click on external tools, it'll take me out to a browser. It'll be the three that we're kind of highlighting. So Tabular Editor, DAX Studio, and ALM Toolkit. So if you're trying to tell that story, championing this for your business, just leverage these pages. A lot of this verbiage that's out here, copy and paste, put together a strong PowerPoint deck, whatever it may be. And then also to take it back to at least Tabular Editor. Let me jump back to this page. Here is this great call out. So Tabular Editor, when downloaded from GitHub, is digitally signed. So digitally signed, trusted, by Microsoft as a supported, vendor install, etc. So both DAX Studio was recently also digitally signed, paid for by the SQL BI guys. So Tabular Editor and DAX Studio both digitally signed. So if that's important in your messaging with your IT organization, champion that as well. Just making those two huge call outs for you. And obviously, if you need any help with that story, let me know. Just reach out. More than happy to help in any way I can. Cool. All right. So at the very beginning here, we want to get set up. Just let me know, at least in the chat, do we have anybody that is maybe still on July? If so, you'll want to just enable the preview feature. So here at the very top. So this is only applicable to July and August. You want to enable the enhanced metadata format. So if you're on September or October, you don't have to worry about it anymore. That enhanced metadata format is now generally available. But for all of our other friends, just go ahead and get that enabled and then restart your application. But jumping back out to Power BI Desktop, I'm going to go ahead and snap left. We'll snap right. Get out of here. Teams. I know you'll leave. All right, so we'll jump over to external tools here within Power BI Desktop, Tabular Editor. And we're going to enable two different features here. All right, so experimental features, keep a backup of your PBIX file and proceed at your own risk. All right, I understand Power BI. Always keep a backup just in case. File, then we're going to go to our preferences. And then I'm going to deselect these here real quick and we'll go through them together. So allow unsupported Power BI features. So if I was to hover above this, checking this will allow us to edit all TOM objects and properties when connected to a Power BI data model. All right, so that one's interesting. And then the detect changes. So checking this will automatically update the tabular object model loaded in Tabular Editor anytime a change in a connected model is made. So one is editing, and then the other one is reading. So let's go ahead and enable both of those. So edit and read. So both read and write. Cool. Press OK. good there. I'll just close out of this for the meantime. And I heard this term, this TOM. So what is the TOM? It's the Tabular Object Model Hierarchy. So think about like server. It's kind of like the Power BI service up in the cloud. Obviously, our database can be like our workspaces. Our model, obviously, is our data set, and all the different components there within. So like a data source, our get data, our Power Query experience, tables. So what are some of the attributes of kind of within tables, like columns, maybe measures, hierarchies, our relationships, so our primary and foreign key whenever we're making those connections within our desktop file. And then also like roles, so like row level security, being able to see those attributes here within this complete structure, so our TOM. So our first objective, we're going to go and extract the underlying metadata from the model. Like I said, for tonight, I'm not leaving anyone behind, so please stop me at any point in time. Greg, feel free to come off mute as well. But if there's any section where you're like, Alex, you moved way too fast, all of this content has been pre-recorded. So if there is maybe a friend, colleague who wasn't able to make it here tonight, and you're like, this was awesome, feel free, forward this page, let them know that there's also guided videos. Cool. So with this, we're going to start by extracting some of this metadata from our TOM. So we're going to jump back into Tabular Editor. On your local machine, you can go ahead and create a folder. You can just call it Sales Demo if you'd like. So once again, I'll zoom in here. So those unsupported features, experimental, just keep a backup, not supported by Microsoft. So just have that there. If you do make any changes and you try and call up support, then like, all right, sorry, we can't help. But we're going to do File, and we're going to save these to a folder now. So I'm going to save it here to my Sales Demo folder. Awesome. And Sales Demo, cool. Awesome. So those items from our TOM, remember? So we talked about our tables, our roles, relationships. So once again, if I was to click into tables now, I can see here my calendar. I can see my customer transactions just on the right-hand side here, all of the various tables within my model. So keep in mind, it's not extracting the underlying data. It's all the metadata here within your data set. So let's try something else then. We're gonna go back up to File. And this time we're gonna do a Save As. Yeah, the YouTube links are all here within this page. So anywhere where you see optional guided video, just feel free to point through those, and it'll be a complete playlist in each section. All right, so this file is Save As, the model.bim. So the BIM is the business intelligence model. It feels very redundant when I say it out loud, but always have a good laugh. So model.bim, I'm going to press Save. And then I'm going to navigate out to this model.bim, and I'm going to open this just in a text editor. So I'll do VS Code. Schema. Oh, I love it. All right, so here, this model.bim. Interesting. So compatibility level of our model, 1520. That's for Power BI data sets. So our data source here. Some of the things that I remember from our TOM, right, is our tables. I've got an orders table. It has columns. I can see here order ID. I can see the data type. Awesome. So especially if you're kind of newer to Power BI, kind of coming out of the dashboard today, still getting just acquainted to the tool, Power BI sits on top of an analysis services database instance. So if you're always like, well, why is Power BI so slow? Whenever I double click it and I open it up, it's because it's creating a database behind the scenes for you. How incredible is that? And then the underlying structure here is this model.bim. So this massive JSON body. So if we're to also look for, let's say, relationships. All right, so here are some of our relationships now. orders table to our customers table. And what else do we have? Roles. So right here, Florida sales rep, one of our row level security, state and province is equal to Florida. So knowing that Power BI is just this massive JSON body structure. I mean, I guess I could come out here. I could probably like add a comma, add a new line, make a new row level security. That just seems like a lot of precision to get all of that right. So let me go back then. So the importance of Tabular Editor. So Tabular Editor provides us a graphical user interface of this underlying JSON body structure. So just like where we could see the roles here, Florida sales rep. I was expanding this out. State province is equal to Florida. I can zoom in here now. All of my tables, all of my relationships, all of this underlying metadata is now available for you here within Tabular Editor in a graphical user interface, as opposed to having to worry about editing a JSON body in a text editor. That's why I love Tabular Editor. So with that, let me jump back over to the page. Any questions, at least about Power BI sitting on top of an analysis services database instance, just this massive JSON body? So I'll pause there. All right.
I feel like people are tracking.
Yep, I love it. So especially now, if you're like, Alex, I have no idea what I've walked into. I feel like you're just dropping me in the middle of the ocean here, talking about analysis services, tabular object model structures, this whole JSON. That is all by design. So with the rest of this session, we're going to continue to just peel back these layers here of this onion, just keep working through this content. So right now, let's talk about the best practice analyzer. So I'm going to go and close out of VS Code, close out of this. Awesome. And just right off the bat. Yeah, page we're referring to. Let's do that. So I'll drop this here again for you, just if you're following along. We're in the best practice analyzer section here, so I'll include that as well. Awesome. So just right off the bat, Alex, I've got to talk to you about this model. Unusable. What are you talking about? Unusable. I had the experts, they looked over your model, just riddled with errors. What are you talking about, riddled with errors? This model is perfect. The table names are evenly spaced. There's no dim, underscores, facts. It's all readable. Just this incredible end user experience whenever they get out here into my model. No, I'm sorry. They took a look and it's just all over the board. Alex, I literally just downloaded this file 2 minutes ago. There's no way that all of these experts were able to look at my model in that time. You're right. So it's this rich 20-year history of analysis services. Just condensed all these best practices, all these lessons learned over time, just a point and click away. So here at the very top, we can navigate out to this repository. So these best practices rules. Here, giving us just an outline, just graph user interface. If you have any rules that you would like to contribute, here's the underlying structure as well. So what we're going to do, though, is we're going to copy the existing rules. So BPA rules-standard.json. We can click on this one now. And then the important part here is we don't want this GitHub page. We want the actual raw JSON. So we're going to click on the raw button. And if you just want to cheat, if you want to avoid that, that's fine. I'm not here to blame you. Just copy and paste this address. I just wanted you to see that raw button. So that's going to be an important one, just as you're kind of working with peers or maybe showing them this in the future. Just make sure you press that raw. But with this, I'm going to copy the JSON. We're going to jump back over into our Tabular Editor. I'm going to go ahead and collapse a few of these here if you don't mind. Then we're going to go up to our tools. So here on number 3, tools, manage BPA rules. Then we're going to go and add. I'm going to include a rule file from a URL. So in this way, as new rules are added, things are changing, I can just go ahead and inherit these. So I'm going to drop that standard.json address here, press OK. And then if I was to click on the raw GitHub user, I can see practices have now been loaded just here within Tabular Editor. So I'm going to press OK now. And then if I go to Tools, if I do the Best Practice Analyzer or F10 for all my keyboard fans, if you like your shortcuts, if you remove the F1 key, just go ahead and press F10. Zoom out here now. Wow. Bottom left-hand corner, 190 objects in violation of over 13 best practices. Wow. So that rich 20-year history of analysis services, all these deep experts, they've just taken a look here at my model, just leveraging this best practices rules, and they came back with 190 objects in violation. That's incredible. Just a click of a button. So let's maybe collapse some of these now. Just here at the very top, I'm going to do collapse all. Let's maybe read through some of these rules. So column references should be fully qualified. Yes. Do not use floating point data types. So if you're out in the 16 decimal land, you're way too far out there in terms of the uniqueness. Scale it back a little bit. Don't summarize numeric columns. Hide foreign key columns. This one actually sounds pretty good. So let's expand this now. Then if I hover above one of these items, I get the description. So I get the columns used in the many set of relationship should be hidden, as the related dimension table is likely the best place to apply a filter context. Interesting. I would agree with that. We should probably hide our foreign key columns. So with this, I'm gonna copy this script here. So just generate fixed script. It's now been copied to our clipboard. Press OK. And I'm gonna zoom out here. So we're now on step number 5. Here within Tabular, I'm going to just stretch this out a little bit. So this way we can paste it and then read it together. Cool. So it generated this script here for me. I'm not quite sure what it is, what it's doing, but let's just first line, just kind of read it together. So model.tables, orders.columns, customer ID as a data column is hidden equals true. All right. So orders, yeah, column salesperson ID is hidden equals true. Order date is hidden equals true. All right. So I'm starting to figure out this pattern here now. So apparently there's this hidden property. We're changing it now to just go ahead and hide these fields. So that's pretty cool. So let's actually scale out. I have my tables here. You can expand or contrast these, collapse them just left to right in terms of your navigation. So I'm going to right to expand. I'm going to go down to my orders table. Then I see order ID, customer ID, what else here? Salesperson ID. So let's go ahead and run this script now. Run script or F5. Press this green button. Awesome. So customer ID now light and gray. Salesperson ID now gray. So it's been hidden. Comment. So once again. So let's take a look here at our Power BI data set then, if you don't mind. I'm going to snap this to the left. We'll snap this to the right. My orders table, these should be hidden. What's going on? Customer ID, customer ID. That doesn't seem right. Salesperson ID, salesperson ID. So I've made the changes here within Tabular Editor, but I'm not actually synced those back down to my Power BI data set. So what we'll want to do is we'll go up here. We'll press the floppy disk icon, which I just continue to laugh at. I just can't imagine trying to explain to someone now what a floppy disk is. But or Control S if you're a keyboard fan. So we'll do that now. Press this. See Power BI giving us the nice little waiting window. Awesome. Now hidden. Just instantly. So we made our changes here within Tabular Editor. Whenever we were ready to sync those, we went ahead and pressed Control S. It wrote those back down to our Power BI data set. So remember that edit property that we enabled. So then we went ahead and edited. But what about reading? So it said if we make changes in our Power BI file, it can also sync those back up into Tabular Editor. So I'm actually going to just right click here now. And let's do unhide all. So I'm going to unhide all fields, bringing these back. Working on it, working on it. There we go. Customer ID. Now back in black, no longer hidden, no longer that gray color. So that's pretty cool. So,
and Alex, we had a question. I don't know if you addressed this already, but what about fixing or highlighting the violations that are found? Might have been from previously.
Yeah, fixing or highlighting the violations. I might need to know a little bit more context there.
Aaron, are you on? Aaron, do you want to jump off mute for a second?
Yeah, I'm on. Thanks, Greg. Yeah, the question is like when those violations are found, that's really useful. Is there like a step after that, like where it points you to where the violation is exactly, or maybe a way to fix it? Like, can some things be fixed or highlighted?
Yeah, definitely. So in terms of a lot of these, let me do this one. Actually, let's do provide format strings. So a lot of these will give you just general descriptions if it's just a best practice. Like in this one, the format string on like do not use floating point. Let me do this one. I'll grab the script, and then we'll see here what it generates.
Okay.
It'll automatically add a lot of these, like data type.decimal. So some may automatically fix it for you, where others are merely like suggestions.
I see. So if you click on that, it'll go to the line that it found, right? So it can help you to go straight to where it was looking.
Yeah.
Detected.
So yeah, it's going to tell you exactly, kind of through that JSON body, it's going after that column field for longitude. That was the violator.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah.
That's good that it's good that it pinpoints, because sometimes like analysis tool, they'll let you know, but it's just in a generic way and you have to go hunt it down. Whereas if this way you click on it, it's going to take you to that formula.
Yep. So awesome setup even for me. We're getting more comfortable with kind of a lot of these rules. Hide foreign key columns. I know it's not going to break my model. It's not going to destroy it. I don't want to see the script. I'm just going to apply it. So I press apply fix.
Ah, good.
From here, we'll notice now grayed out, and then we'll remember that last step is our Control S to make sure that it syncs back to our Power BI data set. So I'll do that now. So just as you get more comfortable, using the rules, knowing what they are, obviously you can go through. If you only wanted it to run for 9 out of the 11, go over here, remove those 2 lines. If you just wanted to have it go for all of them all at once, that's fine. The biggest call out that I can give for anyone kind of here tonight, let me get it back here. The objective is not to get to 0. I mean, that's, probably not possible in a lot of scenarios, but you have to make those design decisions. So I think I saw a few people today, after you kind of sat in some Tabular editors earlier this week, they said I had 520 violations in my model. I had another one that was like 422. I said, that's great. You know where now. You know where the areas where you can get improve. Other ones, you're just going to accept those design decisions. So just love kind of giving that call out here. The objective is not to get to 0, but these are all great guardrails for you. All right, so let's jump back to our page now. Yeah, go ahead. Awesome. And then our objective here, I love the experts. I love, kind of their contributions, but it's not always about the experts. Sometimes it's about the internal business, the organization. What are our own best practices that we should be applying? So within this, I'm going to go to our tools. We're going to manage BPA rules, and we're going to create a new rule. So tools, manage BPA rules. Rules on this local machine here now. So I'm going to do that, and I'm going to press a new rule. I'm going to get the menu, and I'll spare you the full reading, but we'll do disable auto time intelligence, my least favorite feature of them all, the one that keeps us all up at night. We'll place this under a category of performance. I'll copy and paste this massive body of text. And then applies to, this is our model. So thinking about our Tom now, right? So if I have any tables, that have a name, so our name property of our table, that starts with, open parenthesis here, kind of that ugly GUID over here, that local date table, for all of our auto date time intelligence. Let's identify those. So local date table underscore, double quotes, close parenthesis, minimum compatibility level. We know Power BI sits on top of analysis services. We're actually at the highest level of 1520, if we remember, kind of within that JSON. So we're fine. At an earlier model, auto time intelligence doesn't even exist, so I'm fine at 1200. I'm going to press OK. And if we jump back to our tools, best practices rule, disable auto time intelligence. I see this rule has now been created. It's at my model. It gives me that full description. Unfortunately, I cannot delete these automatically, sadly, because Power BI just has this kind of weird, awkward of entitled. Oh, get out of here. So if we go to File, Options and Settings, Options, please, at the very least, if you've not already done so, you can disable it at a global level here within your data load, auto date time for new files. But we're going to do it here within our current file. So current file data load, auto date time intelligence, getting rid of it. We already have our own custom calendar table. Don't need it, don't want it. Get out of here. And then we'll see here within our Tabular Editor, those changes will now be synced. So press OK. Local date tables, changes made to the model outside of Tabular Editor. Would you like to update? Yes, that's fine. Local date tables be gone. Awesome. Whew. Best practices. So let me go and pause here. Your thoughts. Just having an expert a point and click away, finding all these potential rule violations within your file. Just how incredible is that?
That's pretty freaking incredible, Alex. I had no idea this is what Tabular Editor was all about.
Yep.
Now I see the hype.
Oh yeah, and we still have a way to go here. So I'll refresh this. We'll get rid of our disable auto time intelligence. We've cleaned up that rule. We're good. Close out of best practices. But I absolutely love it. And then especially speaking to kind of the repository, if you have rules like the disable auto time intelligence issues up here, people are starting to submit these. I submitted it. I said, let's get rid of auto time intelligence. And then hopefully that'll be added to that JSON body one day. And that way you'll just inherit these new rules that are being added. So please, 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 if you have something you're like, I think this would be great for the community, come out here. Use this template, submit it, just help us out. Awesome, awesome, awesome. So let me go ahead and close a few of these. Best practices analyzer. If anyone else has any thoughts, just let us know in the chat here. I'm a huge fan though, but tonight it's all about rapid development. So I don't want you to build, models a little bit quicker, kind of through copy and paste. I want you to do rapid development. So it's all these templates that you have, all this knowledge that you've maintained. How do I get you to build things faster? Without that slow, sluggish feeling of the Power BI desktop every time you add a new measure. So the biggest call out that I want to have here, the scripting language is C#. I know absolutely nothing about C#. What I do know is that I am a problem solver, and right now I have a problem that I need to solve. So we're going to break this down just piece by piece. We'll start rebuilding it back up to get to that point of rapid development. But I just love for others who have attended this, whenever they hear C#, it's that little bit of, I have no idea what you're throwing me into. I'm taking this far. I need to go just a little bit further. Just trust me here. And then of course the common keyboard shortcuts, Control Z or Control Y, just to undo or redo changes. But here, advanced scripting, go ahead and zoom in here now. We're going to start out here within the window. We're going to write selected. So for my kinesthetic learners, if you enjoy getting your hands on the keyboard, this is 100% for you. Selected. Oh, awesome. So we do have Intellisense. We're not going at it alone. So selected.table. And added calculated column hierarchy measure. For this one, I actually add a measure. So add measure. And I have 3 different arguments: my name, expression, and display folder. Yeah, there are the level indicators there, Aaron, but that is a great call out. Maybe they could have those added kind of within that graphical user interface. Awesome idea, though. Let's tweet Dana Oedeker about that. So we're going to use selected.table.add measure here. This script. The first argument was my name, so I'm going to say total count of. And a nice little space. My concatenator within C#. It's going to be a plus symbol. So just like in DAX where we have the ampersand, concatenate here within C#, it's going to be plus. Selected.table.name, comma. Our next argument here is our DAX expression. So I'm going to do a count rows, open parenthesis. I'm going to do a single quote. So then this way, if I have a table where there is a special character like customer space transactions, I'll just make sure I get that. Here, concatenator selected, at least from a grill here, and why it's not doing Intellisense. I don't know. Great question. We should tweet out to Daniel why it kind of gets removed here on the second line. But let's do name, concatenator of our plus, double quote, single quote, close parenthesis, double quote, comma. Whew. All right. And then our third argument here, it's optional. Our display folder, I'm just going to store it in a measurements folder. Good practice, just do the semicolon here at the very end, kind of the different scripts. So in this example, selected.table. So I'm going to select my table orders right here, number 2, and then we're going to press that run script. So run script created a measurements folder here for us, and then total count of orders. So thinking about our TOM again, right? This tabular object model hierarchy, all of the different properties that are available. So my name, total count of the selected table, which was orders, my DAX expression, which is our count rows of orders, and then of course our display folder here, measurements. So yes, you can make this more robust. You could do your format here. You could do your description all at once as well. Just kind of keep that in mind. These are all properties that you can script. Let's kind of dial back here then. So our name was our first argument. Second argument was our DAX expression. Third argument is our display folder. Let's go ahead and save these now back to our Power BI file. So I do that floppy disk. I'm just having a great time laughing at this floppy disk. Save my floppy, measurements, total count of orders. All right, pretty cool. Pretty cool. Pretty cool. I think we can do more. So let's do Control Z. Let's get rid of this one here. I'm thinking about the code. The selected.table.name, writing it twice. It feels like we could probably do better. And actually get rid of this script here. I'm all about the muscle memory. I got to do it just over and over and over again until it kind of sets in. So let's do var table name. You can call this anything. If you want to call it pineapple, feel free. Just var table name selected dot table. Here's our Intellisense back dot name. So we're getting our name property right from our TOM. Semicolon. The selected dot table dot add measure. Our 3 arguments here: name, expression, display folder. So total count of concatenator of our plus, we're going to point to our variable this time. So just like DAX, where we stored in a variable, same over here, just VAR. So table name, comma, count rows, single quote. If we have a special character within our table name, concatenator of our plus, table name, concatenator again, double quotes, single, close, double quotes, comma, woof, and then measurements. I know a little bit of accuracy there, but feel free to copy and paste. So with this, we're going to select orders again. We have these variables defined. We're making our code a little bit cleaner, a little bit more efficient. Press run with our F5, measurements, total count of orders. Awesome. Awesome, awesome, awesome. Let's try this again then. So we'll hold control, or I can hold shift if they're adjacent customers and employees. Because I've been talking about rapid development, right? Just building things faster. So I'm going to select two tables. Now press our green, run script. Selection contains more than one object of type table. They're right. I mean, I tried to select both customers and employees, and unfortunately, just not able to detect. So what we probably need to do is we need to start thinking about looping through our selections. Let's try this again. So I'm going to delete this code. I'm going to go up to samples. I have these tutorials. Loop through all selected tables. So for each, we're creating a loop. I've got a variable now that's called table, and then for selected tables in table. All right, so I'm processing this whole C# now. So for each table that we select, go ahead and store that in a variable called table, and then just loop through those items. All right, let's try it again. I'm getting rid of this green comment. You know, I'm not really worried about time. Let's bring back our var, table name, muscle memory. Our variable now is just called table.name, semicolon here, that good practice, table.add measure, open parenthesis. And then a little bit of help from the chat. I'm trying to remember what were the three arguments that we need to satisfy for add measure. I'm just spacing a little bit. What were the
quiz? This is actually a quiz.
What are the three arguments that we need to satisfy? And I don't mind if you scroll up and cheat. I'll just call it resourceful. But what are the three arguments that we need to satisfy for add measure?
Name of measure.
Yeah,
measure, the table you're going to put it into, and I forget the top one.
Yes, we
name
got
of
name.
measure. Oh, your DAX. So name of your measure, what your measure is, or your DAX, and then what table you're going to put it in.
Love it. Yes. So we're going to do our name, our DAX expression, and then just a display folder. So that optional if we want to throw it into folders, just especially kind of just making our models nice and clean here. So let's do total count of concatenator plus table name, comma, DAX expression count rows. If I can spell right, there we go. Open parenthesis, semicolon for the good practice of any special characters. Table name again, copy and paste if you want. Concatenate, double quote, single, close parenthesis, double quote, comma, woof, and then measurements. Awesome. So let's try this. I'm going to expand out both customers. I'm going to expand out employees here. We're going to run this F5 if your keyboard fan, green button if you just want to press it. Measurements folder created in our customers. Measurements folder here created within our employees. So total count of customers, total count of employees. Save it back to our model. Control S. Now we can go over here and check customers, employees. So we're able to deploy just two models here, kind of that single click. Control S. We didn't have to do the new measure, that sluggish processing feeling here within the desktop. All right, I'm buying into this one. Yeah, go ahead.
If you wanted to create measures, you just put that into like a measures folder without putting it into each of those tables?
Measures, the folder itself would have to.
So let's say I just wanted to create a folder or a table that's for measures only.
Yep.
So like
Yep.
key measures. Can I write that, all of these like you just did, to a
Yep.
single folder that just is called key measures?
Definitely. Yep. So you could script that out to have those moved then to that folder or that table, that measures table that you've created. So 100%, that's how I would do it too. All right, so let's undo these. I'm not really too worried about it because I'm probably not going to be doing a lot of table looping. To be honest with you, it's probably going to be more column based, right? So just looping through multiple columns. You know me, delete the code. Let's start again. So our samples, tutorials, loop through all selected columns. I'm getting better at reading this code. So for each selected column, stored in a variable called column. Green text here is just our comments, not really too worried about it. Get rid of it here. So our column dot table dot add measure, our 3 arguments. So let's do sum of double quotes concatenator, our column dot name, comma. We're gonna do a sum in parentheses, not doing the single this time. So we're gonna do a double concatenator, and we're gonna use this column.dax object full name. So what is that? It's right here, the DAX object full name. It includes the prefix of the table name and then the column name. So in this way, if you had that primary and foreign key relationship, they're both called the same. There'd be no ambiguity. The table name will be prefixed at the very beginning. So just an awesome resource here for you. So let's do column.dax object full name concatenator or plus double quotes close double comma, drop it here into our measurements folder, semicolon, good old semicolon here at the end, just hitting home here on the best practices. We collapse this. We're going to collapse our orders table, keep going, and then we're going to go down to our sales order lines. We're going to select quantity, unit price, and then pick quantity. So quantity, unit price, pick quantity. Green, F5. Measurements, sum of quantity, sum of unit price, sum of pick quantity. It's pretty cool. So I selected 3 columns and went and added 3 measures. Rapid development though, just keep building more. Control Z. I'm going to continue to add to this script now. So column.table.add measure, open parenthesis again. This time I'm going to do average of, catch up with my own average of double quotes concatenator column dot name comma. All right, let's do average open parenthesis double quotes concatenator column dot DAX object. It feels like I wrote this before, didn't I? Oh, love that you're already reading the code. You started out saying, I don't know anything about C#. You're now reading the code and you're saying, Alex, we probably should have just used a variable. We could have improved this code. I love that. I love that you're already reading the code. You're already thinking of ways to improve it. Challenge for you if you'd like. Just go and update the code to include variables. But I'm going to keep going along here just with my kind of messy way. So DAX object full name plus our concatenator, double quote, comma, measurements, double quotes, close it out. If you didn't get the full accuracy, just copy and paste it. So with this now, we'll do quantity, go to unit price, pick quantity again, run here with the F5, measurements, sum of quantity, average of quantity, sum of unit price, average of unit price. So 6 measures in the click of a button. Could you imagine how long that would take in the desktop? But I'm thinking about our community. I love our community. Here at the bottom, advanced scripts, script snippets. So we've been talking about these scripts, just improving upon them, moving measurements into folders, adding formatting automatically here within our scripts. A lot of these things have already been written for you. So especially if we think about time intelligence, all these frustrating nights just writing the same DAX kind of measurements over and over again. A lot of this documentation is out here. So let's steal this one here for time intelligence. So I'm going to grab this, get rid of this code. I see here at the very beginning, they said, here's the variable that you need to set for the rest of the script. In my example, I don't call it a date table. I just call it a calendar date. So I'm going to change dates to calendar. I'm going to go ahead and select these now. Run my script. Wow, look at that. 36 DAX measures, the click of a button, copied and pasted from our community.
Boom, said Emerald.
How incredible is that? So especially as we're now thinking about the power of all this, where do we go? So daxpatterns.com. Let's jump out here now. So if you have a long weekend, I've just not got a chance to sit down, but if you come out to DAX Patterns, you're like, maybe I could start getting my hands on the keyboard, convert some of their scripts. It would be an absolute honor for me to come out and copy and paste your code one day. I don't want to write it. If I can just come over here and copy it from our community scripts, I welcome that. So viewing the code here, basic and intermediate scripts have already been submitted. People are already contributing. Like I said, if you have a long weekend, you want to get some experience, come out here, DAX Patterns. Beat me to it. Otherwise, I'll submit them. So just like over here, format all measures. They've included the script here. It's pretty light, but just anything you want to contribute. That's why I love our community. Whew. So rapid development, advanced scripting, C#. Let me pause there. Any questions?
I'm loving the chat right now. If you have a question, feel free to jump off mute, or even jump off mute and say how amazing this is.
Yeah, Alex, could you use this for theming? Like if you want to do color theming?
For theming, what are you thinking there?
Like so like when you want to do your visualizations and you want to theme them out to different colors or dates to certain colors and what?
No, yeah, this is primarily just dealing with the analysis services database. So like the visual layer is still one area where we'd love to see scripting. I'm a Power Query guy. I would love to see scripting over there too.
Yeah.
So
you just have to use the JSON and load that up. Okay.
Yeah, cool. But Power BI.tips has a really good kind of theme builder if you're looking for kind of a good graphical user interface version.
Awesome. Thanks.
Yeah, great question. Yep. So all of those community links here, don't worry, I'll talk about those at the end. I've got you covered. I've taken you this far. You need to trust me just a little bit further. I'll get you back to shore here. So one thing, let's just go ahead and wrap up the night here. Calculation groups. I'm talking about these measures. We're doing all this rapid development. Year to date, prior year, YOY, year to date, prior year, YOY. I'm just noticing this massive sprawl, kind of these repeated patterns. So Control Z, let's get rid of them, get out of here. Go ahead and collapse a few of these, get out of here too. And then one thing we want to make sure is navigate to calendar table. If the date column's hidden property is set to false, it does look like it's grayed out. So I'll zoom in here now, hidden. I want to change that from true. Let's get that over to false. Come on, there we go. Awesome. Now back in black, we're looking good. Right click on the tables object, create new calculation group, or Alt +7 if you're the keyboard fan. Let's create a time intelligence. You can call it anything. It's not name sensitive. Name here at the very bottom. Change it here, wherever you prefer. So I'm just kind of single click it here now. I call it time calculation. Step number 4. And then our calculation items. So I'm going to just go ahead and create 3 of these. So I'll do 1, I'll do 2, I'll do 3. New calculation 1. So I'm no longer doing C#. Get out of this tab. I'm going to jump over to expression editor. So this will be our DAX expressions now. I'll zoom in, calculate. I see some syntax highlighting. That's awesome. One thing I didn't notice was Intellisense. Daniel has said that he's got that on his next major release. So right now he's just still working through the minor kind of updates, especially as the world is all seeing this tool at the same time. We're all just submitting so many kind of bug fixes here for him. So calculate. We're going to use this measure here, selected measure, open parenthesis, close parenthesis, no arguments. Kind of interesting. So let's do comma. I'm going to do dates, MTD, open parenthesis, our calendar table, calendar, date, closed, copy and paste it. I'm sure there are more efficient ways to do this. I just want you to see here, you don't always have to take kind of the scripted route. M is now updated to Q. And then once again, here in our new calculation number 2, we'll update this one to Y. So now we have month to date, quarter to date, year to date. So let's get these updated here on the names. So let's do MTD. If you want to press F2, keyboard fan, that takes you into edit mode. If you're familiar with Microsoft products, MTD, QTD, Y to D. And then we're going to update the format string expression. So I'm just going to update it to currency. So I'll select all 3, holding shift, copy this property here now, format string expression, bottom right. Now obviously you can make this dynamic too, but I'll just paste this here. Checking back, month to date, format string was updated. Quarter to date, format string was updated. Y to date was updated. So it doesn't always have to be scripts. If you just are doing some light activity, right click, use the navigation menu. Know when it's time to script, know when it's just a simple update, maybe on the property page. But especially for calculation groups, it might be something where you're like, hey, I can really use these across my projects. I might want to create an actual script for my calculation groups. So, something to think about. But with this, we're going to save these changes back to our Power BI file. Control S. Or press the floppy disk. I just need a t-shirt of a floppy disk at this point. One or more of the calculation groups needs to be manually refreshed. Refresh now. We see our time intelligence calculation group here within our fields pane. So I'm going to just add a matrix here to my page. Nice and big. We'll go to our calendar. We'll get our year. It's in our rows. Let's do month kind of underneath it. Obviously, if you'd like to get down to the day grain as well. Total unit price here in my values. So I've got total unit price, if I was to drill. Here's 2015, January, February, etc. Time calculation, add this to my columns. Total unit price, month to date, quarter to date, year to date. So thinking back on that selected measure, I didn't have to go out and write all these DAX expressions saying total unit price, month to date, total unit price, quarter date. It's using these calculation groups. So just the same, if I was to remove total unit price, if I was to add a different measure, let's do average of quantity. Average of quantity, month to date, quarter to date, year to date. Let's add another measure here. Average of quantity, month to date, average of pick quantity, month to date, quarter to date, year to date. Just these calculation groups, you can see how powerful that they can be, as opposed to having just hundreds and hundreds of these repeated measures within your data set, just leveraging calculation groups. And then yes, calculation groups are supported within Pro data sets, so just keep that in mind. Feature, you can enable these today just by leveraging Tabular Editor. So with that, where do you go? Continue your journey. So we've talked about the tool. We've talked a little bit about the creator, Daniel Odeker. He does have a Tabular Editor playlist over on powerbi.tips. A lot of these, kind of about a 1 hour session. So if you're like, I really, really loved learning about the scripts, go watch the video. About an hour and 9 minutes. If you're like, the best practices were really cool, I want to dive in more into that, 105. And then of course, I think I saw some comments earlier, but application lifecycle management. So if you want to build a complete DevOps experience, leveraging Tabular Editor and kind of this underlying metadata structure, go watch that video. Script snippets here at the very bottom. Once again, I don't want to get to the bottom of the page and say, oh, that was great, but you didn't tell me where to go. Here's your journey. Script snippets. Go learn how to write these yourself.
Alex, great question. Have you seen like alternate date patterns in those scripts, like for like 445 calendars?
I know some people are probably working on them, but I've not seen any, at least within the community gallery.
Jennifer, that's your cue.
Yeah. And I'm with Jeff here. I prefer M, set up to be dynamic. Yeah, I mean, M for my calendar tables, but I mean, all my measures should still be within DAX. And then, of course, calculation groups, official Microsoft Docs, and then also SQL BI has been doing a great series, kind of with calculation groups and also kind of some blog content there as well.
Yeah, SQL BI has really turned up the heat, I think, especially with their DAX patterns book. Yeah.
So hopefully everyone's enjoyed tonight's Power BI workshops. Like I said, I've been building this content out. So if you're interested in like ALM toolkit an hour, exact same structure. Walks you top to bottom how you can do kind of merging content within your data set. DAX Studio an hour, I still need to get through. I'll get that done here before 2020. But if there's any content where you're like, hey, this is awesome. 1 hour gets me in, gets me out. I know where I should go from here. Let me know. I love that kind of feedback just to continue building this out for you. But also, because I am a community guy, connect with me online. I'm hanging out over on Twitter all the time.
Alex.
And then LinkedIn as well. So if we're not already connected, just connect. Feel free to shoot me messages. I love participating. But with that, thank you so much. This is the last public showing of a Tabular Editor in an hour. All of it's pre-recorded, so please, if you want to, send it to your friends who weren't able to make it tonight. Just let them know. The other half of this, as well as this content, is yours. So if you're leading your own internal user groups, if you want to fork it, if you just want to deliver it kind of as is, feel free. This is completely yours to take.
Hey,
so
Alex.
With that, Greg, thank you.
Alex.
Yeah.
I got a quick question.
Yep.
So Power BI is this juggernaut, right? This global juggernaut that's, kind of just a moonshot here. And so, I mean, Microsoft is a more than like $1.5 trillion market cap company, and this, Power Platform is an important, and everybody is just loving Tabular Editor. And obviously, when it's in the hands of a master like yourself, it's it's a very, very impressive thing. But it's one guy. He's not even on the Microsoft payroll. It just seems like, that Microsoft would see like the demand here and like pour resources like crazy.
It's a great observation, but I'll correct you on like why this right here was my absolute favorite feature. Watermarks. And it sounds like so simple. And you're just like, what are you talking about, Alex? You just blew us away with this whole rapid scripting. Power BI is still very largely a self-service tool. Obviously, we've all kind of matured with it. We've outgrown the desktop in a lot of ways. But there are so many new people that have not even landed on Power BI desktop.
Yeah.
So that's where I would be like, I don't want them to know about this stuff, hopefully until like the 6, 9, 12 months, whenever they've delivered a few projects and maybe they have some interest. But for a lot of people, before watermarks, it was like a daunting experience landing on the desktop, and they had no idea where to go.
Yeah.
So it absolutely kills me to think that people were getting frustrated with Power BI and leaving, not becoming a part of our community. And it's like, gosh, watermarks, that's like my favorite thing this year.
Gregory, to your point, I mean, there's tools, there's so many external tools. I mean, DAX Studio, been around a long time. And I think to Satya Nadella's spirit of Microsoft, of really enabling, open source technologies and open source collaborators, and letting those individuals just continue to create their own ecosystems within these tools. I doubt Microsoft's going to try and go either step on their toes or maybe throw fire in the flame, maybe in the future. But I mean,
we would probably ruin it if I was to be honest.
I didn't want to say it, Alex.
No, it's the
didn't
truth.
want to say.
It's the truth of prioritization. Like all of the features that obviously Microsoft wants to kind of tackle versus what exists today out in the community, and the community can build, obviously without the lawyers, without the restrictions. So I love that Daniel, Darren, and then obviously everyone else that's building other tools as well. Just they're building at their own speed at the needs of the community today.
Yeah, just
not of the 3 to 5 year roadmap.
Buy him a coffee, download his tool, share the wealth, do workshops like Alex is doing. I think that's the best way to support.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome.
My concern is that, with the self-servicing data governance and being able to certify data sets, there's a struggle with clean data versus self-servicing. So it's like that hybrid model of how do we manage that in-house versus people just free-nilly. I don't know. That's just a battle right now.
Yeah, and I mean, some of the items obviously coming up on the roadmap. So if you aren't using this, please do it. Make it a part of your internal communities. I'll paste the link here. PBI release wave on the short link. Built this for the community. Goes over our release notes in a much easier monthly format. So at least the one we were all excited about with composite models. Not updated yet. Still showing for November. It's coming out in December, at least from what I've read on the Twitter sphere. But I mean, this is the 20-year journey of analysis services, right? Being able to combine models together without duplication. Just impressive to think how close we are. And we're all like, oh, we want more, we're gonna do more. It's like, well, could you imagine the person with 20 years? We're like, all right, guys, slow down a little bit.
We're so close to the Shangri-La of composite models.
Yeah.
So close.
Hey, Alex, I have a question about where do you see Visual Studio data tools landing with this? I mean, I've been working in data tools for a really long time. What's that?
I don't use Visual Studio at all. Way too heavy. Way too many white screens.
So you think this will basically wipe out the use of data tools?
For corporate environments where they're not accepting of open source, I think Visual Studio SSDT is still the standard.
Okay.
But that's where I need everyone out here where it's digitally signed. We're championing it. We're talking about the value that it can provide. I mean, it's hard for me to believe that organizations can bring in R and Python, but they can't bring in tools like this.
Right.
Great point.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah, you're welcome. Awesome question, though. But I completely see it all the time where organizations are just tethered to closed source.
Well, before we lose the opportunity, I would love if everybody just kind of came off mute, throw their camera on or something. But let's give Alex just a resounding round of applause.
Great job.
Awesome. Give him a follow. Give the man a follow. Yep. Subscribe, whatever we got to do. Get him a coffee. But Alex, thanks a lot for just continually being part of our user group, always being in our chat, being the link guy. And, running a workshop like this that really kind of upgrades everybody's understanding around how to use amazing external tools, and hopefully host you again in 2021.
Yeah, I'd love it.
All right, and we'll be waiting for your T-shirts.
Yeah.
And I'm here to throw down for stickers or swag. Just let me know. I'm in.
Yeah, I'll let you know on the swag. We'll get some out to the community.
All right.